Hey chat, I have I have cut all the hair off my face. I'm now a army man, professional army man, right? Like clean shaven, just like how God intended us to be. What's this? Doing some more handmade hero basically. Bakersly. Is this not? It's not working. I'm supposed to actually stream in the evening today, but I've got plans later on which I didn't know about. Well, I didn't know it was later on, so basically it's going to be an early stream today. That is how it's going to be. So I can't find my live on my phone. I found it. Got Shrek. Does this look like Shrek to you, my brother? Does this look like Shrek to you? Got yellow Shrek, yeah? Okay. If you say so. How's your day going, little bro? Well, I'm a bit hungover because it was my dad's birthday party last night. So, yeah, but hopefully I can still do some programming. Shut up. Okay. But I'm gonna have chat on my phone this time. Okay. There it is. How's your day going, Mika? Mika? How's your day going? Did your second monitor explode? No, I can't be asked going like this. Right. Every time I wanna look at that second monitor. Hello, Jamie. Pendergast Jamie. Last time, I gotta learn from my mistakes from last time because I kept on closing CMD when I wanted, like after I compiled it. So GDI 32. Is that the library? I think it's GDI. Is it? Oh, it is. Okay, good. So this is where we left off last time. We can successfully do this stuff, have an epileptic warning. And when you click close, it says this. So that's what I made last time. And I'm gonna basically improve this virus. Where's it gone? So yeah. Going tough because I got a 3-day Wolf under premium. Good. Enjoy it. I'm going climbing today later, so basically Wolf under premium. I'm looking forward to you one day try my voxel engine. Yeah, man, I'll try it, sure. It's got C# scripting inside of it that lets you create custom tools and do certain things. You can make a C# script to generate a bruh, the emoji's in the way. A pie pyramid. A pyramid and it makes an inspector window to modify it, which is awesome. Nice. Man, it seems like you're gonna go far in life if I'm being honest. Like you're clearly good. I don't know why you don't put your talent in doing some high paid gigs, high paid jobs. Go back to Arch. I'll go back to Arch when I finish learning the Windows 32 API. God knows when that will be. Job market is dry. Mate, I have a job and I'm 17. And it's actually a programming job as well. I'm sure you can find one as well. Yeah, coding job market. I have one. I have a coding job. Right, so
my life, and I wrote code
we're going to be
like
allocating a
all the
back
time.
buffer today.
It's the only way I programmed. Everything was written exactly that way. It's some people call it.
So what is this guy waffling on about now?
Look inside your zip file, and there'll be day numbers, day 01, day 002, and so on. So if you are watching this video again sometime in the future, you will want to grab day 2, translate them, and dispatch what's going on here, because otherwise your source code will be out of date. So we've got one source file so far. It's win32handmade.cpp. And this right here is our window callback. Now you'll remember what we did last time was we made a little message loop here, and Windows basically has a message queue for our application that it stuffs things in. And we have to pull them out one at a time, translate them, and dispatch them, and then we will get them in our window callback. Now, we also talked a little bit in the Q&A, I believe, about why we have to have a callback at all, because if we're the people who are pulling the messages off the queue down here, well, why can't we just call whatever function we want? And the reason, as we saw in the Q&A, is because Windows reserves the right to call us back at that window callback anytime it wants to. It does not have to do it inside this dispatch message. That's the sort of mental model that they were going for, is that they call us back inside dispatch message. But, of course, Windows, things get crazy, so they started having places where it calls us out of the middle of nowhere. So anytime we call into a Windows function, no matter what it is, we kind of have to be ready for it to potentially call us back in there. Okay, so what we did and where we left off is something that is not really sufficient for our purposes. Basically, we had two things that we had to fix. One is that you'll notice, and those of you who tried at home, I'm going to go ahead and launch the debugger here so we can take a look at our program. So for those of you who are following along at home, you know that when you run this application, you end up in a circumstance where there is really nothing you can do with it. You cannot close it. I mean, you can resize it and see our black-white alternating pattern that we decided to have in there just to make sure things were working. You can do all that, but you cannot close the window. And so really there's no way to exit this application without going back to the debugger and hitting Shift F5 or going into...
I can close the window. Wait, I just realized I was recording it by accident in OBS.
Debug here and hitting Stop Debugging. And that is because we are not yet handling the close message.
Oh, I think we did this already last time.
So in order to handle the close message properly, there's a couple things that we have to do. The first thing is we want to go back here and take a look here at the loop that we created that's pulling these get messages off. Now, if you remember, if we go back to MSDN, and we looked at this the other day, but if we go back to MSDN, the documentation for get message is very explicit about what's going to happen when we call it. It says, in fact, it even gives some sample code.
One sec. How on earth did I make this happen? I think I did all of this for debugging purposes. You know, I've got no clue what my code means, and I wrote it 2 days ago. How does this turn into a dialog box? So we get a message, which is an event. If the event is more than 0, so like I think something happened, translate it. If it's not more than 0, then we open up a dialog box. What? Why? That implies that WM close is like 0 or less. Yo, I've got no clue what my code means. Oh, damn. I'm gonna try it again with some new thing. If I close, okay. Oh, wait a second. I think I understand now. So the post quit message 0. That is what we use down there. Yeah, okay, now we got the dialogue. We don't have the dialogue box because I commented out. Did I? Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Perfect. I understand now. I remembered what my code does. We can successfully move on. Bro, I just closed the terminal again. Damn. I'm just gonna stop with the color because it's getting tedious now.
Down here, it basically says that there's a possibility of a return value of 0 if the WM quit message is posted, which is basically a way of Windows telling us that it wants our app to exit right away. But there's also the possibility of a -1, which means there was some kind of error in the get message and we should exit as well. So, given those two things, we checked for greater than 0. What that basically means is that if we want to exit this application at the moment, what we will have to do is basically get this thing to go ahead and get a WM quit message. And there's a really easy way that we can do that. We can actually tell Windows to just go ahead and post a quit message right on our queue. There you go. Now, if you take a look at post quit message in MSDN, again, always get used to MSDN. And by the way, I'll mention one other thing that someone wrote in and told me about that's pretty important. When you go to MSDN, we have not had this happen on the live stream, but somebody had it happen at home, where sometimes it's tough because we're a game, and games don't interact with Windows in hardly at all, basically. But if we did care, we would start to think about, oh, do we need to pass error codes back and all these sorts of things. We don't care about that at all. All we want to do is post a WM quit message in response to WM close so that we will fall out of this loop. Now, there's two things we could have done here. And I will show you how to do the second one as well, because it's probably a little more proper, even though, again, as a game, we don't really care. So let me compile that. Let's go ahead in here, and we'll go ahead and set a breakpoint on that line. Here's our Handmade Hero app. When I close it, you will notice we get this post quit message. I apologize for that. I break for ready to ask exactly that way. Some people call it resource acquisition is initialization. Other people might just think of it as having everything wrapped in a class with a constructor and a destructor. There's a lot of different methodologies that sort of have this same thing at their core, but they all boil down to that same thing. And so they would never want me to do something like creating a window that I had no plans for destroying. But later on, as I programmed more and started to ship a lot more real-world applications and cared about performance a lot and cared about a lot of things that I didn't care about or know about during the times when I programmed like that, basically what I found is that that is a really bad way to program. And the reason is because it is almost always the case that things are better acquired and released in aggregate. And what that means is that instead of thinking about things individually, you always think of them as part of a group that gets handled together. And that is the way to think about things. And what that means is you can't be myopic and look just, you know what, the tea wasn't doing it. You're asking about cheating on my almond milk with the tea wasn't doing it. We're switching to the almond milk. There it is. All right.
This guy drinks raw almond milk.
Sorry for the interruption. It has to happen now and again. Anyway, what you need to do is stop looking at things in that myopic way that focuses on the individual creation and destruction of one resource and start thinking about creation and destruction and acquisition and releasing in waves. Now, you don't have to worry about that too much because we're going to be getting into those sorts of things a lot more later when we have a lot more resources to deal with. But right now, the reason that I wanted to bring it up is because what we're doing right here is we're creating this window. Now, we know that as long as our game is running, we are going to leave this window created. And if we ever do destroy it for any reason, we're going to recreate it right back again right immediately. And the reason is because we can't display our game without a window. So we know as long as the game's running, there's a window. When we exit this application, Windows will bulk clean up all of our windows, all of our handles, all of our memory. Everything gets cleaned up by Windows. So if we actually put in code that closes our window before we exit, we are wasting the user's time. I know it sounds strange to say it that way, but that is the truth. If you've ever had one of those applications where you try to close it and it takes a while to close down, and you're like, what is going on? All I asked you to do is close. Well, honestly, a big cause of that is this sort of thing. It's thinking it has to go through and free all its resources manually and tidy everything up, when in reality, a lot of those things, if they had been thought about as in terms of waves, it would have closed like that. Just something to think about. Again, I apologize to object-oriented programs out there who are having a fit right now. What can I say? I'm sorry. That's just not the way I code. All right. So we are letting our window die. The reason I said there's a little bit of an oddity here is because we handled the WM close message and not the WM destroy message. We left the WM destroy message floating, sort of blowing in the breeze, if you will. And so if you want to be a little more appropriate or a little more clean here, you could do something like this, where you pass both of them. Or if you want to satisfy even the sort of try to tidy everything up sort of way of doing things, you could even call destroy window, which closes your window and kills it right here. Or you can do something even more pernicious, and it is probably honestly what I am going to recommend that we do, which is that we are going to instead talk about actually having a variable that controls the loop down at the bottom so that it will exit on its own. So basically what we're going to do here is inside our statement that used to be an infinite loop, we are basically just going to say while we are running. And this will give us a global Boolean flag that we can go ahead and kill anytime we want to. And we're going to talk about this in one quick second.
Okay, we're going to make a public Boolean running flag, which is like what we do when we make games. We have a main loop, and then everything gets executed there, every frame.
But basically what we're going to do here, actually I'm going to initialize this in the way that I normally do. What we're going to do is we're basically going to have a giant a Boolean global that says whether we're still running, and when we go to close the app, or if our window gets destroyed for some reason, we are going to set it to false so that we exit. Now, in the future, we probably will not actually do these things directly. What we will probably do instead, and the reason that I'm setting up this Boolean here, is we will probably only really do this setting running to false somewhere else. We'll have to do it somewhere else. So for now, it's going to be a global, but in the future, we may move it. So this is a global for now. And the reason I say that is because the user may try to close our application, and we may not want to actually close the application. We may want to pop up something inside the game that says, are you sure you want to exit, or something like that, in case they may lose progress in their game. If it's like some kind of a roguelike situation where we're not going to save it, we may need to do something there. So we probably want to exit here. And with WM destroy, that is what happens when our window gets destroyed. And honestly, we may want to treat that case as an error. Let's say our window gets destroyed somehow.
I just realized my switch cases are inverse to his ones. Size close, activate app. Interesting.
That we did not foresee, we may want to flag that and go try to recreate our window later. So I'm going to do both of these as well. And really, this whole structure is going to be largely placeholder code for when we come back a little later and handle this with a message, and or I should say to the user, and handle this as an error, recreate window. We will want to come in here when we do the second pass on the Windows platform later, which will be much later, when we're going through and tightening everything up and making it super good for shipping. We may want to do those things. All right, so let's talk about this global. I am not averse to global variables, but I am also not a huge fan of them either. The dogma that says you should never have a global variable, I certainly don't buy into, but there is a reason that dogma came about, and a lot of the points are pretty valid.
Dogma.
Basically, something we'll be trying to do to avoid making mistakes is we will be trying to avoid having code that should not be touching things, touch those things, for lack of a better term. And so the more we can make our code very clear about what it can and can't access, the better. And that is where global variables really pose a problem, because since anyone can touch it at any time, it makes it rather difficult for us to see. So This is something that in our Windows code right now is totally harmless. It is just a thing that controls exiting from the loop. Our Windows code is always going to be a little bit janky because it is interfacing with Windows, and Windows is not designed particularly well. It's not a very good API. So I am not concerned about doing things like using globals in the Win32 platform layer. Most of our code will not be in that layer, and most of our code will not be touching anything that are global in there, to say the least. They will not even really know that it is there. So it is not really that big of a deal, but even so, I will probably move this out of globals at some point just so I can have a much clearer idea of exactly who can change running and when. So that said, watch for me talking a little bit more about globals in the future, because we will have some more things to say, possibly even on this very episode. But for now, we're going to go ahead and use them, because a lot of times you will use things as you lever code up into a working state, and then you sort of solidify it down. You may start to pull things out that were global, or pull things that were in functions out of them, or those sorts of things, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have to go in here. We'll start running, basically, right before we go into our while loop. So we're going to set running equal to true. Now, one thing that you'll want to note is that static, we saw it once before. We used it in here, and this was to say that it persisted. Now, it's very confusing in C.
Sorry, I zoned off. I actually didn't hear what you said in the past minute.
You'll use things as you lever code up into a working state, and then you sort of solidify it down. You may start to pull things out that were global, or pull things that were in functions out of them, or those sorts of things, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have to go in here.
Running. Do I even have this while thing? So if Windows handles true, okay. So he has a while running.
Or global, or use things in the future, because we will have some more things to say, possibly even on this very episode. But for now, we're going to go ahead.
When did he add that?
And use them, because a lot of times you will use things as you.
Oh yeah, last episode he changed it. He changed this for loop, infinite for loop, to a while running loop. And I didn't do that.
Lever code up into a working state, and then you sort of solidify it down. You may start to pull things out that were global, or pull things that were in functions out of them, or those sorts of things, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have to go in here. We'll start running, basically, right before we go into our while loop. So we're going to set running equal to true. Now, one thing that you'll want to note is that static, we saw it once before. We used it in here, and this was to say that it persisted. Now, it's very confusing in C, because static actually means different things depending on where you put it. It's not a particularly good keyword. And so one of the things that I actually like to do, and I'll start doing this right now, is to really define static into two different keywords, and I use the one that I actually mean. So if I have a local variable that is local persist, I will use that. And if I have a global variable, I will usually do something like this. There you go. So let's call them that, and let's actually put those in place. So instead of typing static, I just renamed that so we could see this is a locally persistent thing. It means that it stays around, but it is still locally scoped in here, right? Whereas this thing right here, this is a global variable, right? There you go. And now you can actually see what those are instead of looking at static, because static means two different things. In this case, what static meant was it meant that this value would stay the same after it exited the scope. So normally what would have happened is every time through the scope, it would have set it to whiteness again, because it would have been a local variable. If it looked like this, that's what it would do. But as soon as I declare it static, it means it actually allocates space to store it for now and ever. So it assigns whiteness to it the first time, but then immediately after that, it starts assigning other things to it, and those things will persist. The next time it comes through this code, it will not do this initializer. It will not do it. And so it will retain the value that it had. So when we wanted to do this kind of toggle, where we toggle things back and forth, that was a really kind of convenient way to do that. Now we're going to rip that out, because I hate using local persist. In fact, one of the reasons that I do this exactly.
Local persist, right? I've never seen this in my life before. Local persist. I don't believe that is a C++ keyword. He's defining static twice. How would the compiler know to differentiate between them? Because they're the exact same words.
this way is so I can search for things like all the times when I use static to do local persist, because I don't mind if they're global variables, but I do mind if they're these, and I like to be able to get rid of them. Now, if that weren't enough for you in terms of confusion, the other thing that static does, it has one more meaning. What it does is it basically
I am very confused.
can define a function as being local to the file that it's in. So it can be basically used to say, don't allow this function to be called from any other file other than the one that it is in. And by file, I actually mean translation unit, and that's actually going to be important in the future, but for now, you can just think of it as source file.
Okay, I get it.
But to be continued. And so usually what I will do is I will say something like internal or internal function, right? I usually just use internal. So, all right. That are some pound defines just to change the word static into something that we can actually remember and use a little bit better and search for, more importantly, when we need to clean up our code base. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say that, well, oh, I forgot the thing that I was going to tell you as well there, which is that the other thing that's interesting about static that it does automatically for you is that if you use static to declare a global variable, it is automatically initialized to 0. So if I were to type this or this, I would basically, because false always evaluates to 0, basically that is exactly the same.
I did not know that false always evaluates to 0. That's good news.
It's just not saying anything. I do not have to initialize to 0.
I need
It is
a
initialized
coffee.
to 0 by
I need
default
a
if it
coffee,
is
man.
static.
I'm so tired.
So there you go. Okay. So if we were to take a look at this now, we can go in
good.
here and, oops, static macro redefinition. Oh, duh. That's good. This is the sort of thing that happens on a stream when you are too busy explaining things. You put your stuff in the wrong order. My apologies.
Blood puts it in the wrong order.
Apologies. Awesome. Yeah. There.
I'm gonna fall asleep in a minute. What? No return statement. What? Expected declaration before curly braces.
There we go. So anyway, yeah.
Now we've got to scroll half the video backwards to find the code that I need. So,
An infinite loop, we are basically just going to say, while we are running.
yeah, so while running, message is this. Message boolean if, yeah. Okay, this might. Okay, this might have fixed it. Let's try again. It fixed it. It's cooked. Alright, it's not. Alright, the window pops up for one frame and then dies. I'll comment all of this out. What did I do? Uh, um, while running. Okay, well, I don't believe I ever set running to be true. I think that's the problem. Yeah, because it's static, always goes to 0, so it's false. So I think if I make this true, then it will work. That's it. Okay, good. But now my dialog box is not working. Maybe because I put this statement in. Okay. Okay. Right. I need to get some coffee, man. I'm so tired. I'm gonna be back in like a minute. Where do I put the message? Hopefully people look up there to the code. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Or 2 or 3, I don't know. It's hard being an old man. The spine starts to deteriorate. Okay. Hello everyone, new to the stream. How you all doing?
And this will give us a global Boolean flag that we can go ahead and kill anytime we want to. And we're going to talk about this in one quick second. But basically what we're going to do here, actually I'm going to initialize this in the way that I normally do. Right before we go into our while loops, we're going to...
So that's it, right? I didn't make it true, so I'm not gonna initialize it with a value down there. I'll put a value here.
We're going to set running equal to true. Now, one thing that...
And I gotta uncomment that, and also... That's fine.
You'll want to note is that static, we saw it once before. We used it in here, and this was to say that it persisted. Now, it's very confusing in C because static actually means different things depending on where you put it. It is not a particularly good keyword.
We did this bit already.
Ask Windows to allocate... And, oops. Static macro redefinition. Oh, duh. That's good. This is the sort of thing that happens on a stream when you are too busy explaining things. You put your stuff in the wrong order. My apologies. Awesome. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, yeah, defines... Oh man, it is a sick day.
Programmer.
So defines always go in this order. That is just completely, yeah. Hopefully everyone knew that already because I think we covered those. But just in case they didn't, pound define, since I already made the mistake, I might as well have to explain it again. That is my penance. Pound define always takes the thing you are trying to define anew, and then takes the thing you want to be. So it translates this into this. And I had them reversed, which is absolutely no good. So there you go. All right, so if we take a look at this now and we run this application, we can close our application by hitting the close button, and it closes just like we wanted to. And basically what will happen there is it will set running equal to false, and we will exit right out. And again, all we will do is basically let Windows clean up everything for us because it's going to do that.
Define internal static. Yeah, because there's like the three types of static. So you can't access this code outside the translation unit. Something like that.
Whether we like it or not. And if it's going to do that, then we might as well let it. So we now have fixed the only problem that we actually had with our application, which is that you could not close it, and you can close it now. Very exciting. We still have two things to handle here, activate app and WM size, but we are going to get to those in a second. What we really need to focus on now is the fact that we can't really paint anything meaningful. Now basically what we have to do here, when we did our paint, you'll notice that what we had to do was use GDI to paint things. And GDI is Windows' graphics API. And like I said, we want to do everything from scratch, so we want to interface with GDI as little as possible. Basically what we want it to do is take a bitmap that we have already rendered using our own code and all of our own techniques and just display it to our window. In order to do that, we
need to make a C-style buffer.
Have to basically ask Windows to allocate a bitmap buffer for us that we can write into, something that's in a format that it is comfortable with us handing back to it. Then we will write into it and tell it to go ahead and display. Now, this involves a bunch of Windows stuff, and I wrote down all of the things that I wanted to remember to tell you, so I'm going to open my notebook here and hope that I don't. They're kind of a little scattershot in the notebook, but hopefully I'll remember them all as we go through it. So here's what we're going to do. Let me give you the big picture. Basically what we are going to do is we are going to ask Windows at some point, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of type these out here as functions. We are going to have a function that's basically called resize div section.
Oh yeah, he put this as a global persist. Static. I don't need static anymore. Internal void, so this function can only be used inside this source code, basically.
And div section is the name. It's called DIB, device independent bitmap. That is actually the name that Windows uses to talk about things that you can write into as bitmaps that it can then display. Is the name. It's called DIB, device independent bitmap.
Device independent bitmap. Okay.
That is actually the name that Windows uses to talk about things that you can write into as bitmaps that it can then display using GDI.
Device independent bitmap.
Okay. we're going to have a function that basically resizes a div section or initializes it if it's never been created before. And basically what we will do is every time we get a WM size message, which says that our window's size has changed, we will basically call that. So we will basically force it to create an entirely new div section that is the correct size, so it is the size of the entire window. Now, we won't quite, probably, want to do exactly that, because since our game...
This guy keeps on doing this, right? He gives a solution to a problem which he just made up. And then he says, well, we don't actually want to do that.
Is going to be a 2D game, and we will be wanting to render potentially at fixed resolutions. What
This is the 8th time he did it this episode.
we'll eventually probably do is only pick a size that is a reasonable size for our rendering that matches how we have done our source art. That also corresponds to roughly how big the window is, but for now, we can just go ahead and actually create it to be the full window size, and then once our game's render is up and running, we can start to think about those other things and control them. So,
He's
what we
making
will
up
do here
terms.
is we will call resize div section, and of course what we have to do in that call is we have to basically know what the actual size of the window is that we ended up with after WM size. And the way
Get client rect. Let's go on the MSDN. DPI, wasn't it DIB? Retrieves the corner of the window client's area. The client coordinates specify the upper left and lower right coordinates of the client area. Because client coordinates are relative to the upper left corner of the window's client area, the coordinates of the upper left corner are 0, 0, always. Yes. So what we actually care about is the lower right coordinates. We need a handle to the window and a long pointer rectangle.
way to do that is a thing called getClientRect. Now, getClientRect is a very simple function. If you remember, we had some experience with rect before. It was right here, basically. It's a thing which basically says, here is a left, a top, a bottom, and a right. It is a lot like something you might see in HTML, like in CSS. It basically defines a rectangle on the screen. And oops, that's not where I wanted that at all. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and grab the rectangle for our window. And the reason that it's called get...
Well, wouldn't we put this inside the function that we're making up?
ClientRect instead of something else like getWindowRect, which also exists, is this just gives us the part of our window that we actually can draw into. Because if you look at a window, so for example, let's say I go take Notepad over here, you can see that the actual part you can draw into is like in here, and then there's this like border frame thing, and that's actually all being handled by Windows, right? So there's not a whole lot, we don't want to touch any of that, so we just want to know the size of the part that we can actually draw to, right? And now if we were full screen, when we go, because we're going to want to go full screen eventually, when we're full screen, that doesn't matter because there is no border around the window or anything like that. But until then, when we're using one that has a little border that you can resize, we have to take account for that. Or I should say, take that into account. Grammar. All right, so we are going to ask for the rectangle. You can see it takes an LP rect, and like I said, long pointer to a rect. That's that Hungarian notation coming back there. So we have our window rect, or I should say maybe our client rect, since the window rect is technically something else in Windows. It's the whole window, not just the area you can draw to. I'm going to go ahead and get that out, and that will give us, just like we did down here, that will give us our width and our height. So basically we can just subtract the right from the left and the top from the bottom, sorry, the left from the right and the top.
This guy is so confusing. Left, right, top, bottom, right, no, sorry, no, left, right, up, bottom, yeah, exactly.
So basically we can, and that will give us, just like we did down here, that will give us our width and our height. So basically we can just subtract the right from the left and the top from the bottom, sorry, the left from the right and the top from the bottom.
He speaks so fast.
Saying that correctly.
Bro, why is my phone talking to itself? It just started waffling. Shut up. Shut up, man. All right.
We are going to go ahead and do that to produce the width and the height of the buffer that we need to fill the whole window. That's
buffer. Okay.
Basically how big we will need it to be. So we're going to go ahead and...
So I love that he believes that his audience has the same typing speed as he has. That's amusing.
Call resize div section. and excuse me, we are going to pass it that width and that height. So in here, we are going to get a width and a height, and we will basically need to build that buffer using Windows to give us a buffer that we can draw into. Then what we will do, once we have our div section sized properly, we will actually in Paint, instead of calling this patblit thing here, which is not really anything that we want to do, excuse me,
He's moving so fast, man.
we will need it to be. So we're going to go ahead and call resize div section. And excuse me, we are going to pass it that width and that height. So in here, we are going to get a width and a height, and we will.
Again, client reg.left, that would just be 0, and client reg.top is also 0, so why are we subtracting from 0? I don't get it. He doesn't really explain concepts that well. Or who knows, maybe I'm just stupid. Int width, int height.
We'll basically need to build that buffer using Windows to give us a buffer that we can draw into. Then what we will do, once we have our div section sized properly, we will actually in Paint, instead of calling this patblit thing here, which is not really anything that we want to do, we will do the begin paint, and we will use the rectangle that it passes us to basically update that rectangle with whatever the contents of our buffer was. So we're basically going to create a buffer in WM size, because we always get that anytime the size of the window changes. We're going to create that buffer. We're going to draw to that buffer during our game loop. We're just going to keep drawing whatever the state of the game is into that buffer. And then anytime Windows needs us to repaint, we're going to blit from that buffer into the window. We're basically going to copy what's in our buffer, or rather we're going to ask Windows to do the copy, since it's the only thing that can actually write to the screen like that. We're going to ask it to copy from our buffer into the space occupied by our window. Now we will also be forcing redraws at, say, 30 frames a second in order to do animation. We will be force blitting, so we will not only be painting inside WM Paint, which is just a message we get when Windows thinks some part of our window is dirty, like it went off the screen and came back, or some other window was obscuring it and went away. So we won't only be painting in Paint, but it's one of the places we'll paint. Okay. How do we do that? Well, you know what? I'm going to make a stub function first. So inside here, in between our begin paint and our end paint, I am going to go ahead and say, like, update window, like this. And actually, that I believe is actually a reserved Windows thing, so I probably can't call it update window. But that's actually okay, because you know what I like to do normally is I actually like to prefix my stuff with Win32 so that the platform layer, so it's clear what is Win32 stuff and what isn't. So that's okay. We'll just.
So he just decided to do that now. Halfway through the lecture. It's so hot. I think I'm gonna go have a nap.
Call it that, and then our names won't collide with Windows names. Windows has a lot of names to collide with. Okay, so
Win32. Actually, I can just do this magic trick here. Find all references. How do you change all the references? You can do it in Visual Studio Code. If you can't do it in this, that would be really disappointing. Damn, that's mad. Okay, I'll do it manually then. think that's it. But where do we call the main window callback function? I didn't change that section. Where is it? Line 93. 21 and line 93. Ah, here it is. Okay. There it is. I knew it was somewhere there. Okay, we're all good now.
So when we basically get our x, y, width, and height here out of the rectangle that Windows asked us to repaint, we will go ahead and pass them, like this, to our update function. And of course, since now we actually will need the window handle because we're going to actually blit to the window, we're going to pass it that window handle as well so that it can update it. And then we are going to go ahead and erase this stuff here. So that got rid of our locally persist thing, which, like I said, I don't like, and I wanted to get rid of. So we're going to now move this up here. Thing, which, like I said, I don't like, and I wanted to get rid of. So we're going to now move this up here into an, which, like I said, I don't like, and I wanted to get rid of. So we're going to now, so that got rid of our locally persist thing, which, like I said, I don't.
So I believe he calls the function here update window. We didn't make that function yet. No, not yet, but we will. Window X, Y.
Like, and I wanted to get rid of. So we're going to now move this up here into an actual function.
Yeah.
The function.
Yeah, okay. So after here,
takes an hwind, right, the window handle. It takes the x and the y that are going to be the upper corner of that thing. I prefer x, y, width, and height instead of the top, left, bottom thing. That's just me. So I don't use the naming convention that Windows uses where it's right, left, top, bottom, etc. I use x, y, width, and height. I just think it's a little clearer for me. It's easier for me to remember. And in here, we are going to update it. So what we actually want to do here is we are just going to call a function that is called, I believe, where is it? Let's see. So dib section. Can we get a dib section? There we go. Guess we should start by creating.
oh, I'm getting a call. I'll be back in a sec. Hello. I just got called by my job. Sorry about that. Oh, what does that say here? The audio stream. The audio stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. Interesting. What are you talking about, mate? Oh, all right, it's gone now. It's because I muted myself. Fair enough. Oh, by the way, I didn't see your messages. Oh, look, it happened again. The problem, right? YouTube put the message default as top chat when it's supposed to be on live chat. So I actually didn't see your messages, Jamie. Yeah, man. YouTube kind of sucks, man. Like, YouTube, it sucks. Handjob hero. Oh, Bini. Gabe, look into OLC Pixel Game Engine case moratorium is R word. Okay. You know, I think I will because this guy's a bit boring me. Am I muted again? No, it says the stream bitrate's low. No, it says the stream. Okay, so
Hello, I'd like to introduce the one-lone coder Pixel Game Engine. Not long after starting this channel, I created a header file called the OLC Console Game
bro created the header file.
Engine.
I don't
And
know
this
why
was a
it's
little utility file that allowed me to harness the Windows command prompt in such a way that we could display graphics and accept user input. And I used it to create many game demos and algorithm demos, and I think the response to this game engine has been really quite fantastic. There's quite a lot of people using it, and I think the simplicity of using it really appeals. There's very little boilerplate to do. You just include the header file and you start writing the code that matters. As my YouTube channel has evolved, the demands I've been putting on the console game engine have been growing and growing, and it has been a little bit of a competition in some way to see just what can I do next with the command prompt. The recent Code-It-Yourself 3D graphics based project to run. It will self-load the libraries on Visual Studio. In code blocks you need to add 4 libraries, but it's quite clearly highlighted which 4 they are, and you will have them in your default code blocks installation. I've also worked on quite a bit to get it to be character type agnostic, so it doesn't really matter whether you're using Unicode or not. Now the first
Hello, Willie. I thought you were banned from your computers until December.
major change is all of the Pixel Game Engine code exists in an OLC namespace. And I've adopted this approach to allow me to add extensions later on that can exist within this namespace without contaminating the rest of your programs. Instead of characters, the fundamental unit you operate upon is the pixel, which is a 32-bit full-colour, well, pixel. And so yes, the Pixel Game Engine supports transparency. In the console game engine, we had something called an OLC sprite. Well, we have an OLC sprite again. This time it's just called sprite, and it loads a PNG file. So the Pixel Game will walk us through a little demonstration later on, but I just want to highlight some of the features of the header file, so you'll see there's a lot of familiarity with the console game engine. You first need to construct an instance of the Pixel Game Engine, and you give it a width and a height, and instead of this time giving it a font width and a height, you give it a pixel width and a height. So this means that pixels in the Pixel Game Engine don't necessarily have to have a one-to-one.
At what point are you in C++ learning? I'm currently at the very beginning still. I've only been learning C++ for a few months, like 3-4 months. Nothing, not much at all, honestly. let's see. Yeah, about 3 months, 4 months. Before this point, I haven't touched C++ before. He's a pro. He made his own compiler 2 weeks ago. This guy made his own compiler. Fair enough.
One relationship with screen pixels, and this will allow us to have.
No, but I don't know why he's like looking at the camera with his body faced 90 degrees away. Like it's like this. Why doesn't bro just look at the camera with his body towards it, you know?
Have this retro blocky effect, which I quite like, but we don't have.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Typically, there are two functions we always want to override on your display. If the construction returns successfully, then we want to start the application. And so there we have a screen full of noisy pixels. And it's quite pleasing because the pixels have a certain size. Now,
It's pleasing, yeah. Okay.
So we are going to have to call create div section to.
What is shallow copy in C++? Shallow copy, I guess. I'm guessing when you pass it into a when you pass like a variable into a function, you're giving it by default a copy of that variable instead of a reference to it. If like with this client rect, if I'd remove the ampersand, that would be a copy. But if I add the ampersand, then now it's a reference. So I'm not too sure what the difference is between a normal copy and a shallow copy is. But that was my guess there for you.
Get it, so we might as well start with that as well. We're going to need div create div section to ask Windows to make us one of these bitmaps. And we are also going to need the function to blit it, what is the best way? There's a couple ways. There's stretch di bits to device, but that actually changes the scale of another size in another buffer doing. It went off the screen and came back, or some other window was.
I can't do this, man. I can't.
Obscuring it and went away.
I don't like this guy's teaching style. What is the size of an empty class? Well, everything must be a minimum of 1 byte, I believe. So 1 byte. If you're talking about Gabe, the guy that made Steam, I agree with you. This is the Gabe you're talking about. Absolutely phenomenal. Size of a pointer, isn't it 8 bytes? Like 8 bytes. Four bytes. Oh wait, it is 8 bytes. I was right. Okay, bro, who's using a 16-bit system? What, bro? We're in 2025. He's using a 16-bit system. Yeah, it's 8 bytes. I was right. Proton is the greatest invention of all time. Proton VPN. I like VPNs. Well, I like that one. I meant. Say something. Say something. Javid did not make a compiler. He made a calculator with extra steps. Will, did you get unbanned? Did your mom unban you? Huh? How are you on your PC? You're disrespecting her. Okay, I need to say I don't like how this guy Molly Rocket teaches. It's not for me, right? Especially because his style does not engage me. I don't think I'm gonna continue this. I'm gonna have to find a different learning resource. Handmade Hero doesn't seriously attract me anymore. It's like this concept. Everyone on YouTube teaches the same thing. If you'd search up, for example, C++ basics, Bro Code said it best. Everyone teaches the same thing. You just need to find someone who doesn't annoy you or annoys you the least, right? Some people's voices may annoy you. Some people's teaching styles may annoy you. Some people's whatever. Something may annoy you about that person, right? Doesn't matter. Find someone else until you find someone that you like, right? So, for example, this guy, what's his name? Mosh, right? I was at some point learning Python with him like 4 or 5 years ago. And look, he's very popular, as you can see, obviously. He's got 5 million subscribers, very popular. But I don't like the way he teaches. His voice annoys me sometimes. Now, there's nothing wrong with his voice. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying I don't like it, so I'm gonna watch a different tutorial, right? And this concept applies the same to this.
Into
Right. This guy, it's not for me. It's not for me. Right, I need to find something else. But that's the hard bit. Don't know what to find. Don't know C++ resources very well. Python resources, I know which ones. I've literally made a video on my channel like a couple years ago. I think I made a video on my channel about the best Python learning resources, but I don't know the C++ ones. The one guy I really do like is Bro Code. Like, I've been listening to him for years. I could actually just go him, but then the thing is, right, I don't want to enter in tutorial hell. I don't want to go back into the place that I just exited out from. Tutorial hell would be the worst place for me to go into right now. So, what is this? Hello, Parham. How are you doing, Parham? Have you learned about operating systems? Not in detail. No, I don't know any. I don't know in detail. Ask me questions about operating systems indeed. Like a question about operating systems, just so I can get an understanding of what you're talking about. Raspberry Pi superiority. Now on this channel, man, we use Arduinos. We like Arduinos over here. Raspberry Pi for I mean, I've got Raspberry Pi Pico, but you can't do fuck all with that. You can only do a blinking light script on it. That's it, nothing else. Yeah. Yeah, ask a question about operating systems. Vlad, it's not meant to be fun, just read the documentation. You started learning C#, very good, very good, very good. Code with Mosh is good. Nah. I do not like Code with Mosh, man. Yeah, bro code is the go. Yeah, I agree with that one. More fun is more good. Exactly. I'm not gonna have fun if I watch whatever that is. Code with Mosh. At least he's not a femboy. What is PCB? I don't know. I recognize it, but I don't know what it stands for.
Man, I'm drunk. But shit, I ain't getting drunker.
You know what, man? That's a valid statement. It's a valid statement. It's a valid statement right there. You are so pro, bro. What are you doing? You know, man. God knows. Bro, why is the first word this gotta be an N-word? Anyways, how's everyone doing? Have any idea about CPU scheduling? CPU scheduling. What, like the read, write, execute cycle, something like that, right? I did it for my GCSE in secondary school a couple years ago. I mean, I know something about registers, about CPU registers. The arithmetic logic unit. What is it? Some other registers, racks. Yeah, don't know. Bro, I came back from doom scrolling and you playing GTA. Bro, how dare you doom scroll instead of watching Code Gabe? You should actually get banished for that. Is this your first language? Is this your first language, or do you know more? Yeah, I know Python. And I'm currently learning as well PHP on the side for school, but that's not going to be my main language in life. I'm just learning it because why not? For the exams, basically. You have a go-to challenge for your C++. Please, tell me. Tell me your challenge. I want to do it right now. Tell me. Inter-process communication. Never heard of it. I've no clue what that is. What do you plan to build with C++? Well, I wanna learn C++ to embedded systems would be quite cool. I like that. And general software. I wanna make usable software for businesses. What's a good example? I'd like to do reverse engineering as well. Reverse engineering software, that seems like a really cool thing to me. I started a new save yesterday, that's why. Write your own compiler for C++. Terry did it easily for his own language. Bro. Give me a harder challenge than that. It's not too hard. It's not hard enough. Oh shit. Alright, well that's enough of that. It's weird how when I went on GTA I got like 5 more viewers. Okay. I think I might just do the Windows 32 without his help. And look at that. I went off GTA and I lost 4 viewers. You see, this don't make sense. Okay, where's my stuff at? Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Wrong window, mate. Grab that. Yep. Also, everyone make sure to join the Discord server, link in description. Mika, I'm not a homosexual, but thanks for your offer. Maybe a graphics engine, it's easy and intermediate. Yeah. I guess graphics engine, I mean, you only need to know like some linear algebra, some discrete math, like stuff you get learned when you're 10 years old. It's not that hard. Let's have C++ stuff revision. What is compile time rational number in C++? Compile time rational number. My brother, I've got no clue what that is. Let me just tell you that right now. Okay, well, let's see. What do I want to make right now? I'd like to make a paint app, right? Like this. It shouldn't be that hard to do. All it is getting user input and then calling a function to display where they clicked the pixel on the screen. Obviously, it's way harder than that. I simplified it. I have no clue how to do it. What's the best roadmap to start learning according to you starting with C++? And when should they transition to their second language? Well, in my opinion, you shouldn't start with C++ for your first language. Your first language should be like Python. Because that was mine. And it allowed me to not get scared off so quickly. I mean, if you start off with C++, you're gonna hate programming by the end of it. So I highly do not recommend that. All right. Remove that because I'm back already. So a paint app. I'm gonna restart all of this. I also use Arch. Your first programming language is C++ and you're cooked. I'd like to know why you chose C++ as your first language. That's very curious. Very interesting, man. You're glad you didn't choose Python as your first language. Why are you glad? I love Python. I like every part of Python. I mean, the indenting is the only thing that annoys me. That is where I get most of my errors. When I have a large code base, the indenting is basically the main thing that destroys. Right, it gives me errors. Oh, that I just did something really bad. I need to restart the entire project. I need to, bro, I need to delete that. Uh-oh. I think someone smart in the chat might have noticed what I did wrong. If no one noticed, then that's okay. I'll just move on. I also want to make drivers, right? I think that's pretty cool. I saw this guy on YouTube yesterday. He made a driver for Apple, right? In C, raw C. Like, he just used raw Vim and Comic Sans font. It was pretty cool. I forgot to answer. What's the best roadmap to learn coding according to you starting with C++? Well, basics, syntax, file input output, stuff like that. Yeah, start with Scratch. Scratch would genuinely be the first thing you should do if you know absolutely nothing. Yo, Gabe, how do you find the file manager in Visual Studio? I accidentally closed it and can't find it anymore. Well, this section here, you just click on the side that it says Solution Explorer. You need to tilt your head 90 degrees to see it. What? This guy made a whole header file simply just to include another header file. What an amazing header file, man. Awesome. Right there. Utterly brilliant. Same for this one. I don't know what this guy's smoking, but I want to have some of it. I like hard things in life. I don't know, it's my nature, but also wanted a great coding foundation. Currently doing Programming Principles 3rd edition. Well, it's good that you like hard stuff, because that's how you grow best as a person. Let's see, is this a book that you're talking about? Strauss Up. Oh no. Oh no, I heard many things about this book. I heard not very nice things about this book. But if you're learning well, then good. You learned to write code and not use 1,000 libraries for Hello World. Yeah. That's what I want to learn as well, how to do things without other people's other libraries. Because when you use someone else, right, if you want to like make Minecraft and you just do imports Minecraft, it's not very fun, is it? What will be the largest unsigned integer int plus 1 in C++? Largest unsigned integer plus 1. Well, it's like 2 billion something plus 1. Well, it'd go in the negatives, wouldn't it? Oh, it's unsigned. My bad. I thought it was signed. Yeah, so 4 billion. Then I meant to say 4 billion. I don't know. Okay, my camera just kamikazed. My bad. So okay, sit there, please. So 4 billion. If you just do plus 1, it goes into a negative, right? I wonder. Let's see. Well, I don't have anywhere to test it in. Let's like comment all of this out. Or just delete it. I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, it will, okay. Alright. How do you get the max again? Long max. Yeah, it's something like this. Unsigned int max. Unsigned int max 64. Unsigned int least 64 max test equals boom. Oh, it's its own value, fair enough. Okay. Yeah. This is gonna be annoying. Because I didn't set up the project for it to be IO stream. Yeah, I knew it wouldn't work. Okay. Right. How am I gonna do this then? Alright guys, we're hacking inside the terminal at this point. Okay. So that is the maximum answer. Somehow. What? Okay. That doesn't make sense. I thought it was 4 billion. And if we do a +1, zero. Okay. Well, I thought it would be a negative number, so I learned something new today. Zero. Would it? Why is it zero? It's zero because um it's like a overflow error or something like. It went outside the buffer. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why is it zero? So the max size is unsigned integer 64 max is whatever, and then you +1. That cannot be stored anymore. It's outside of its limit. So then it puts it in as zero in order to prevent a crash. So yeah. Ooh. So it is 0, yeah. Jamie knew the answer all along. When is the right time to transition to the second language? After like 6 months to a year. Or whenever you get bored. You can learn 2 languages at once. It's not a problem. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Well, actually more than that. I'm doing JavaScript as well. But in my college, we're not focusing on JavaScript that much anymore. We did it at the start of the year, but we backed down a little bit because we don't actually need it that much. And it's not hard. It's just annoying. Import print hello world with comma exclamation mark and no line as print hello world. Because of integer overflow. Yeah, that's the right word. Thank you. Thank you. Gabe, do a setup tour. My friend. My friend. Why not look at my channel? My friend, look at this. My friend, look at this. Alright, guys. So for the past 6 years, I've been... Yes. My friend, look at this YouTube link. Look, the specs are right here. Yes. Oh, I need to add here that I use Arch Linux. Oh, listen to this one. Look at this. Look at this. We're gonna add this right here. Let us go. I've got copyright on that. Alright, guys. So for the past 6 years, I've been developing. Why have I got copyright? Why have I got copyright? Man, on this one. Windows 11 Pro. Come on, show my Arch. I need to flex. I've got Arch Linux. Oh, here it is. I use Arch Linux, by the way. Do a carpet reveal. You wanna see my Arab carpet? Just go on the channel, right? Hello, what is Handmade Hero? Handmade Hero is this guy right here. It's a course that this guy made, Molly Rocket. It's very popular. And it teaches you... Why is my computer so slow? Why is it so slow right now? $10 gigabytes. Oh, bro was using 10 gigabytes of my RAM. That's crazy. Yeah, Handmade Hero, basically, it's this guy. He's teaching you the Windows API. So you can learn how to make applications from scratch without using libraries. That's the whole point of this. But I've actually paused it because I find it quite boring. I don't like his teaching style anymore. So... I've actually paused it. The title's a bit clickbait right now. Any words for slicing? Object slicing. I don't understand your question. What is the goal of this live stream? Money? I'm joking. No. Just chilling. It's like... Well, I want to just learn, basically, man. Learn as much as possible. And hopefully... other people can learn as well in the stream and get entertained at the same time. That's the goal. Well, I'll do a carpet reveal, why not? I mean, you've already seen the carpet, but why not? There it is. It's the carpet. For the one who asked about learning C++, you can make anything you want. Who asked about that? I ain't seen no one ask about that. Handjob Handjob here doesn't know anything. Oh, you cheeky boy, Jamie. He's teaching how to make games from scratch. He doesn't use the Windows API. Yeah. You could learn Windows API using AI asking it to make a guide. Bro, listen. The second I pull up an AI, I get at least 5 people waffling in the chat saying, "Why did you bring this clanker up? Remove this clanker." Yeah. But it is good. ChatGPT is good for learning, yeah. Slicing is when you cast a derived type to its base type. Nah, I've never heard of that in my life before. Honestly. Never heard of that before. The only type of slicing I've heard is this. That's the only type of slicing I'm aware of in this world. Is that a Persian carpet? Well, probably, mate. I don't know. Carpet I've had my entire life. I think we brought it from Romania, so I don't know if it's Persian. You should learn assembly also side by side to make it fun. Maybe it'll be fun for you seeing me struggle, but like seeing me want to jump out the window. But I'm not too sure that will be fun for me, man. Slicing is cutting off part of the class by accident. Doesn't happen if you cast pointers, because all pointers are the same size. Romanians stole it from the Iranians. I mean, God knows. Right, so back to this. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. If I go back to the beginning, let's try run this. It's probably not going to work. Oh, it works. Cool. Okay, do you know what really annoys me, right? Look at this. W win main. Let me zoom in a bit there. W win main. Who designed such ugly function names, man? I mean, I don't want to put the blame on the Hungarians, but someone did it, right? Someone did it. And I'm pretty sure it was the Hungarian type notation. This is some awful. It just looks so bad. It looks like. What on earth, man, is going on? It doesn't even appear. It doesn't even appear in the documentation. W win main does not appear, man. It's just win main. Who on earth put W win main? And why does it work? I've got so many questions that are not going to be answered. I may as well keep my mouth shut. I'm willingly putting myself through torture at this point. I agree with you, Night Owl, 100%. Please don't do that. Don't do that, craft from Zen. What is the type of a string literal? The type of a string literal is a const char pointer. If you think you're racist, I'm much more racist than you. Night Owl. Night Owl is not racist. Night Owl's a chill guy, man, or a girl. I don't know which sex that person is. You're the most racist, right? Right. This isn't a competition, guys. Because we all know I'm the winner. So. Right. I'm joking. All right. Let's see. What up, Potato 0F? Also, MD Destroyer was my answer correct. I said const car pointer, something like that, for a string literal. Just completing M Destroyer's final exam for them. Parham, did you get... I didn't know you got muted in my Discord server. What up, Potato Man? How much C++ have you learned? I've been doing this for about 4 months. So I know like quarter of the basics so far. It may be an array, yeah. The pointer is the pointer points to the beginning of the array. Like the first element in the character array. I'm not muted currently, but I was muted 10 times. I don't remember which mod did that. Actually, I'm gonna put it here because I don't want to dox myself. I just realized I gotta end the stream. I gotta go. I have to go somewhere. But I need to find where this guy got muted. I might be here. Hopefully I don't dox myself or someone else. Parham, where did you get muted, my... Oh, damn. Where's the racism, Parham? I don't see it. Have any words for the virtual key, not shallow answer? I don't know what virtual does in C++. I've never used it before, so I don't know. Goodbye, good girl. You found it? Potato, what did you find? Bro, we don't know what you're referring to, Mr. Potato. Or Mrs. Potato, who knows? Okay. So. I'm gonna start from scratch here. Again. Guys, I got a question, right? So win main is the entry point to this application. It's the equivalent of writing main. But it takes in parameters for values which I can only create inside the function. Clearly, I don't understand what's going on very well here. So the handle to the instance, how do I give it a handle if I can't possibly create something yet? Additionally, will this run? First of all, no, it won't. Okay, what's wrong? When main cannot be overloaded. What does that mean? Oh, okay, because it wants the instance. It wants, but I can't give it any values. A handle. Should I just create a handle? I don't know if I can. H instance. Oh, can I actually do that? I didn't know I could do that. A handle to previous instance of the application. Okay. Third, right. LP command line. What does that mean? Long pointer command line. The command line for the application. I don't know what that means. To retrieve the entire command line, use the get command line. Okay, let's just do that. Let's see if this works or not. Who knows? Who knows? And get. Bruh, I'm so confused. API entry. Oh, okay. So API entry. So I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Win API. Shit, I just realized I need to go. My memory span is like, it's like the one of a goldfish. Okay, and we'll do, so H instance prev. What is the problem now? Const car pointer is not compatible with parameter of type long pointer character wide string. Oh, I had this I know, wait, I know the issue. I need to put an L, right? Yeah, I had this issue 2 months ago when I did this. Right, it makes 0 sense. Absolutely 0 sense, right? Luckily it's in the back of my head. I just reminded myself of it. You need to put the letter L here before the string literal. Why? Anyway, yeah, because you see here, right, in the example, it doesn't have that. So why on earth do I need to put an L? Also, why are you complaining? Function must be made static. You make it static. I'm not doing that. All right, let's try this then. No errors? Okay, we got this. Got this. Chat, I've created an app. I'm going to sell it now. Who wants to buy it? £50. Bro found the Epstein files. Who watched Handmade Hero? Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, that's how English works. Linux, query C. How are you doing? Bro, find the Epstein files. Those are just arguments. They are passed to you. You don't assign values to them. Oh. Oh. Oh, damn. That's embarrassing. No, I'll thank you for reminding me. So I thought that we were doing something else. But yeah, thanks for the reminder. Right? Yeah, that makes sense now. You haven't studied about Win32 API? What is going on here? Well, I was like an hour ago. I was with the Handmade hero, but I stopped. So I'm just doing it. I'm just like doing it solo now, essentially. L plus ratio lost to Windows API. What do you mean? Oh yeah, me. Yeah, I did. Yeah, fair enough. The H instant thing in Windows API is why I'll never code a Windows again. Drinking coffee. I also was drinking coffee, but not anymore. It's gone now. Linux, you came exactly as I'm about to end the stream. So I'm gonna go to someone's house in my family, and we're gonna eat some poufoulette with patel and chorba. You know what I mean, with poine and that. So embrace Linux, 100%, brother. Anyways, yeah, that's gonna be the end of this stream. Yummy, yes, it is. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. I hope my dad doesn't beat my ass because I'm late. I should have ended the stream 10 minutes ago. All right, let's see. See you later, everyone. Make sure you join the Discord server. Link is right there. It's right there, man. Just join it. Just join it right now. Where is it? What is the link? Come on. I hope it's in the description. I don't make a fool of myself. Is it here? It is. Look, this link right here. If you know how to use a mouse, right? You can click on that right now. Essentially, that's how links work. That's how the mouse works. So if you know how a mouse works, you can join. So goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Linux. Goodbye, Query C, Willie, Craft from Zin. Windows having 2 L's on the line, yeah. That's a Windows L. Goodbye, good evening, kiss. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, mate. Unless I receive a random donation of £1,000, who knows. Potato. Welcome. Anyways, yeah. Good night, everyone. Peace, peace.